Hello, and thank you for coming today. Like you said, I'm Daniel Powell. I'm the CEO of Spark Biomedical. We're the developer of the Sparrow therapy system, which is a completely wearable, FDA-cleared solution for opioid withdrawal. Our team is made up of over 150 years of experience, specifically in the neurostimulation field. So I don't really have to go far to explain the depth and the damage that the opioid epidemic has done to America, but just to put in perspective, we lose more people every year from opioid overdose deaths than died in the Vietnam War. So what that's like is this country is having a Vietnam War worth of deaths of healthy young adults and middle-aged adults every single year, year after year. And because of the pandemic, it's launched through the sky, because the worst things for relapse and addiction is isolation, loss of purpose, depression, and we've seen behavioral health take a huge hit during the pandemic. And all this comes to a huge economic cost to this country. I focused here on America because being number one, we consume 80% of the world's opioids. Unfortunately, and this is, while it is not just an American problem, we are uniquely the worst in the world right now of this problem. So when we started this company, I asked this simple question is, why is there an opioid epidemic and there's not an alcohol epidemic, there's not a cocaine epidemic and not a meth epidemic? And you might be able to argue there is an epidemic in all those. But opioids are particularly diabolical drugs. They rewire the functional and structural operation of the brain over long-term use. And so what we see is decreased dopamine production, the lack of ability to produce natural endorphins, and overall dependency that comes with an almost impossible physical withdrawal to get off the drugs. So what is withdrawal? Any patient who's gone through withdrawal and gone through a detoxification would say they thought they were going to die, and they meant it. They thought beyond a shadow of a doubt they were going to die. It's because you're having a disorder in the amygdala where you process fear and pain. It's your lizard brain, that's a part of you that says run from saber-toothed tigers, you're gonna die, and is instinctual, it is not logical, and it cannot be overcome through willpower. So along with the overall anxiety, fear, and sense of mortal dread, you have the physiological conditions, constant gastric distress, nausea. One patient on a video I watched said he felt like his bones were boiling one minute and freezing the next. Simply put, it's an unbearable physical condition that, again, is not about logic and willpower, but is about the nervous system betraying itself. So what we discovered along the way is by stimulating specific cranial nerves, specifically the auricular branch of the trigeminal nerve and the auricular branch of the vagus nerve, we can drive an autonomic balancing, bringing up parasympathetic tone and bringing down the anxiety and fear in the amygdala, and drive endogenous opioid production or endogenous endorphin productions, which then fill the vacant opioid receptors. So we put both high frequency and low frequency stim on these two nerves to drive the physiological effect of relieving active withdrawal. So what we have here is the Sparrow therapy system. This is the earpiece. It's very simple to put on device and wear. It has a cable that goes to the box, but that is how quick it goes on. It adheres and stimulates with hydrogel technology and is meant to be a daily disposable with a reusable battery pack. We tested this product in a clinical study in our first 26 patients, and this is the results we saw. We saw 93% of patients went from moderate withdrawal to mild or no withdrawal with only 1 hour of stimulation. Now, unfortunately, the clinical design aspect we had to follow on this was to actually drive the patients into moderate withdrawal and then stimulate to show the effect. And what we saw was a 53% reduction in the withdrawal scale. It's called the Clinical Opioid Withdrawal Scale. It's a gold standard. It's an 11-point scale of objective and subjective measures. And so what we saw consistently, and those error bars are actually pretty accurate, super tight low variability, consistent results that within 1 hour, not only could we have that 53% reduction, which is, what it clinically looks like is someone going from the fetal position, sweating, snotting, just feeling horrible, running to the bathroom every 15 minutes, to being able to tolerate it, being able to take some Tylenol or comfort meds that are non-opioid based and be able to endure withdrawal. Most importantly, though, is days 2 and 3, when withdrawal would be spiking up and getting worse and worse. And I encourage you, there's a new movie coming out called 4 Good Days, and it is perfectly timed for Spark, which tends to be how things go. Good stuff shows up when we need it. And it's a movie coming out about a girl going through withdrawal and trying to get through the last 4 days of her withdrawal. We like to think we could have made that movie a lot shorter. So this is clinically proven with a randomized controlled trial, FDA approved, great safety profile because it's a non-invasive, purely worn device, easy to use, easy to apply. So what have we done today? Full product development is complete, full FDA clinicals done, we've full supply chain implemented, and we're working on our more expanded indications. This is the management team. Like I said, we're all deep neurostim backgrounds and experience in this space. And so from here, where we're going is, oops, I don't think I have a back button. Where we're going is we're going to go into 2 areas: long-term addiction recovery. So we believe not only can we be a withdrawal company to help somebody get through those first 5 to 7 days of hell, but what do they do for the next 90 days to 180 days of recovery? So by managing daily cravings, depression, anxiety, the triggers for relapse. So we're about to kick off that study with hopefully an awarded grant submission. And then something that's near and dear to my heart is the neonatal program. So we have completed, so there's 32,000 babies born a year dependent on opioids because of in utero exposure. We conducted our first clinical trial on newborns and shortened their NICU stay for the opioid portion by 14 days. So average time in the NICU for a baby born dependent is 23 days, and our average was about 7 days to get the babies fully weaned off opioids. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we are going to open a Series A later this year and to really fund full commercial rollout. We are on market. We are doing our initial sales, but I would certainly enjoy talking to anybody about that opportunity. Thank you.